Now you guys know that I have to bless you patrons. Patrons? Man. I'm not going to restart the recording even though I could, because fuck it. It's for the Patreon. That's the meme, right? Patrons are the people who subscribe to a Patreon. So what I was trying to say was I've got to bless you patrons with the best quality games. But I don't watch the games beforehand, but I have heard that this was a really good game. I don't know who won it or anything like that, so let's see. And I like doing eccentric maps as well, because just doing Calderas Refinery, yeah, well, you know, the casuals love that shit because they're used to it. But you guys want a little bit more spice. So we're on Greentooth Jungle. Redux. And we got Vindicare against Crysis. Force Commander versus Lictor Alpha. A matchup I have played more times than I care to remember. And I dare say, historically, I always felt like it did favour the Lictor Alpha quite a lot. But the meta has changed quite a lot since then. And I think in general now it probably does favour the Force Commander, but that's in general. We're on a very big map right now. A very big map that looks kind of Tyranidy, probably more Orc. But still, it feels right that a Lictor is lurking in the jungles here. And the Astartes, inadvertently, have come across it. And now have to take them out. But of course, having a big map always helps the Tyranids, because Tyranids are the fastest race in the game. Yeah, they're faster than Eldar. They are. Quite a lot faster, actually. Eldar are only on par, really, when they're using Fleet of Foot. Which is temporary and requires upgrades. Bit of a dodgy flesh hook there from the Lictor Alpha, which is a shame, because now there's extra contributory DPS coming into the Hormagaunts, so they have to retreat sooner and can't mince up the tacks. Lictor Alpha here probably wants to be getting onto those tacks, might be able to snag a retreat model if he's lucky. No, unlucky. But that would have gone a lot better, of course, if the flesh hook didn't occur when there was a battle cry from the Force Commander. I think there was a battle cry, or maybe it was just a special, I'm not even sure. I think Termagants should be able to force off the FC though here. He might get another model, probably not with the special attack there. He's playing it risky. He's not got an upgrade, has he? Oh, he does, okay. Yeah, he's got the Artificer armor, I was going to say. So that helps him staying longer, because he's got the extra HP regen, so he's not scared when he's retreating. Because he, you know, he keeps regenerating that HP, so ranged DPS is a lot less effective against him. And that meant that he actually got 2 Termagant models there before retreating, and that is the power of getting an upgrade like that, the so-called tanky melee hero armors, early. Map control though, perhaps expected, very in favour of the Tyranids to start off with. Near spike attempt there from the scouts, mostly dodged, just managed to kill one of the Hormagaunts. And the Hormagaunts are going to move away. Not enjoying chasing down the scouts there. Warriors are on the field for the Nids, and we've got 1 gen versus the double gens of Vindy. He's got 2 nodes as well though. So, good amount of expenditure here for Vindy. Now he has to go for all that extra power expenditure even though he's only got 3 units out, and he probably does want a 4th, because he has opted for sergeant upgrades on both of his scouts and this war gear. Generally the rule of thumb is you want 1 extra generator every single time that you purchase a war gear or an upgrade. And he's getting a lot of them. He's got elite training on the way now. Is it not double elite training, I don't think. No, just singular. Another flesh hook going in to... Okay, yeah, he actually gets a kill there, so that's nice for the Lictor. Good that he's actually doing something relevant. And what's going on over here? So the Warriors have found some scouts, and the scouts are going to have some trouble with that one. But they are faster than the Warriors, so they can just kite him. The issue right now for Vindy is he's bleeding a tremendous amount of VPs. Really is. Already under 400 with a 2-0 cap. He's getting this one down here with his scouts. He's also got some shotguns on the way. For the scouts that are actually close to the combat. Nade spike, that's a better one. 3 dead Hormagaunts. Scouts putting themselves in a bit of a nice position, actually. Hidden behind the log there, so they're in cover against the termagants. Probably do want to retreat now, though. They're getting very low. They've lost 2 scout models, so that's the equivalent of, like, 5 gaunts. 5.5 gaunts. 2 scout models. Raveners on the field now, so Vindicare's getting outnumbered. He does have his Devastators, though. FC probably wants to be tying up the Raveners rather than fighting the Warriors right now. And the SM units probably also want to be focusing on the Raveners, because they're light infantry and they're less HP, but more expensive than the Warriors. They're going to get a bit of a flank here on the devs, but I don't think it's going to really achieve that much. Their DPS isn't that incredible. Tax honestly should probably just stop and shoot the Raveners. They're very dogmatic about their capping right now. God. I mean, Vindy is behind on 150 VPs. A nice special attack from the Raveners there, delaying the cap, but the Tax do finish it, and the Devastators have set up, but the Raveners go in for another burrow, okay. So they're going to tie up the devs in melee. You've got For the Emperor on the Tax, and I was going to say the Hormagaunts should be able to then keep moving forward such that when the Raveners retreat, the Hormagaunts can take over the melee attack on the devs, but the Hormagaunts pull back in an attempt to wipe the Force Commander after he is flesh hooked, and that is a mistake because they didn't get the Force Commander, and now the Devastators are able to just set up again. With the Devastators being able to set up again, they're going to be able to push back the Termagants here, no doubt. The Scouts here are going to be a problem for the poor Lictor, because they're going to detect him, and Lictor, not a very tanky hero, for a melee hero in particular. He is pretty damn squishy, doesn't want to be eating shotguns to the face. He's getting his adrenal glands, that'll make him slightly less tanky. I think the best thing about the adrenal glands is the energy economy aspect of it. So you get plus 50 max energy, and energy regen goes up by 2 energy per second. You get a nice little bit of HP regen as well. But the energy economy really becomes amazing, so you can kind of infiltrate, not at will, but certainly a lot closer to being able to infiltrate at will. Raveners burrowing very aggressively here, given that these scouts do have shotguns. Again, you've got to remember the Raveners are not that tanky. And you really don't want to be bleeding Ravener models, because they're super expensive. Yeah, so the scouts here, they should be able to just kite the Warriors. FC then can tie up the Raveners. They don't even need to, because the Raveners are pulling back at this point. So Warrior models might fall here, maybe. Yeah, gets one of them. But Vindicare has left his gen farm slightly open to an attack from the Hormagaunts down here. Where are the Devastators gone? They're in the base with attacks. Okay, Vindy, come on, wake up. Let's get going, lad. He's focusing far too much on this combat. He needs to be sending these to prevent this. They could have been there ages ago and had this covered. High level, guys, high level. These Raveners have been super low on HP for so long. It's really quite amazing that they've managed to not lose a model. Hormagaunts somehow managed to get into melee with the Devastators here. I think the Lictor's going to go for a cheeky decap. He is. What a lad. What a Chad. What a Chad. Now, unfortunately, it is prevented by the Tactical Marines there. Lictor Alpha doesn't quite have enough HP to pull that off. He daren't. Nice special. Yeah, those attacks have to get out of there. Ah, the warrior positioning is brutal. Right into heavy bolter devs. Not great. Honestly, Cry, probably time to just retreat these Raveners, bro. So low on HP, I don't know if it's worth it to go for this gen bash. Look at the VPs though, man. 432 to Cry, and it's a triple cap. Wow. So the VP pressure is on for Vindy. He needs to start sending these scouts to cap the VPs. The scouts have done amazing for him. I really don't feel like the Devastators have done that much, but it could very well be due to miss micro. Attacks are coming out of the base for the Emperor on them, using Kraken rounds for some reason. That does not help you against the Raveners, but sure. And once again, the Raveners managed to get out after combat without losing a model. Kudos. And they got 1 gen, so I guess it's fine, they didn't lose a model. Just imagine though, if scouts were in this position and hit a nice nade here, instant wiped Ravener squad. That's why I say it's not really worth the risk. Dreadnought is on the way already, hey? That is fast, that is a fast Dreadnought. But yeah, Vindy's gonna need something. I really don't know about the Dreadnought, to be honest with you, because this is a big map. So generally, you know, you want transports, you want speed. And in general, walkers are not very good against Tyranids because they have heavy melee, because the Venom Brood is really high DPS mobile AV. Whereas transports are great because they don't have a snare. We'll see what it can do. I mean, certainly going to be able to deal with these Adrenal Gland Warrior Brood and the Rippers that are accompanying them. But it's alright. Cry doesn't matter too much. He's getting the Gen Bash. Just stalling. Scouts forced off by Raveners and Termagants. And the Elixir forces the Force Commander off. Not bad. Force Commander, I don't know what he's doing there. Decapping the natural power like that matters to Tyranids in Tier 2. I think really should be prioritising going after... Oh, I was going to say going after VPs. No, actually, Vindy had all 3 VPs, so fair enough. Guess he had nothing else to even cap, other than this wreck, I guess. So that's good. He stemmed the VP bleed for a little bit, but for how long? Tax are going to take a fight against Homagons here. I think the Tax will lose that. Okay, not with For the Emperor. Yeah, they're going to win that. It's actually kind of a bad fight either way, because you're just going to feed the Tax loads of XP. And of course, if the Tax ever drop and they shall know no fear, then you certainly will get absolutely wrecked with your Homagons. So hey, look at the map. It's certainly looking a little bit better for Vindy. Devastator being mismicroed here. I don't really know what it's doing. Slightly curious. Point blank setup. And a very curious burrow there from the Raveners as well. No, slightly mistimed on the grenade. Unlucky. I don't know why the Raveners tried to burrow forward. That was odd. Cost Cry 2 models, that did. We've got some Venom Brood now. We've got their Synapse, so they're going to be buffing the Raveners and Termagants when they're nearby. We're going to see a Librarian. Interesting. I'm more curious to see what else we're going to get on the Force Commander. One would have to assume that a Thunderhammer will be coming out relatively soon. Teleport pack already on the way. Because you just use it to tie up the Venom Brood, right? Especially when you don't have ASM. Yeah. Thunderhammer, Teleporter, Artificer Armor, Force Commander. So now you just start escorting the Dreadnought with him, and every time the Venom Brood attempts to do something about it, the Force Commander just teleports on top of them, ties them up to melee, and causes a lot of disruption. And it's not like you can counter-initiate the Force Commander with melee, because he's got a Thunderhammer, which does 360-degree knockback with special attacks. He goes for the Power Fist. What? Eh? Why? I am a little bit confused. I mean, he's killing Homagons every single swing with that thing. It's not a bad weapon. It's mostly just that the special attacks on the Power Fist are garbage, and the special attacks on the Thunderhammer are amazing. But the passive attacks are just fine on the Power Fist. I mean, they're actually better, at least dealing with kiting units, because they do a lot more damage per hit than the Thunderhammer. We'll have to see. Lictor can do a lot of things to try and counter the Force Commander. He's going for some Scything Talons. He has his Lone Hunter upgrade, huge buff to his combat stats, and the Stalk Global has been activated, increasing the damage that Lictor Alpha does. Oh my god! He gets the kill anyway. Wow, look at that. The power of the Stalk Global and Scything Talons, 81 power melee DPS, then buffed even further by 40%, so that's a lot of damage, guys. That's like 112 DPS on a very fast boy, and then that gets buffed even further when you use Stalk. So yeah, that's a dead Force Commander right there. I thought he was actually going to get out when he managed to retreat just in time of the Flesh Hook, but apparently not. Still, the Force Commander's not really that big of a problem. The problem right now is this Dreadnought, which is very difficult for Cry to deal with right now. Venom Brood are there, but everything's suppressed by the devs. Ooh, a brutal amount of splash damage coming out. Grenades, smite from the Librarian, and this is just beautiful Space Marine play that you like to see when the Space Marines are taking on the Tyranids. That's what you got to do. You control them, and you beat them up with all your amazing abilities. Here comes some Burrowing Raveners. They've got their enhanced muscle core, so these are now dedicated to the melee. So they don't have ranged weapons anymore, but they get a little bit more HP, a bit more speed, more melee skill. Does it increase their damage? Yeah, increases their damage by 33% as well, so just a nice generalist buff to help them scale as dedicated melee units. And the other thing is they now become affected by melee synapse rather than the ranged synapse. But as you can see, mostly just use them on the sidelines, but look at their speed with that upgrade. Super, super quick. They're already speed 6.5, so... No, they're not. Are they? So they get speed 7.5? God, that's absolutely terrifying. Super speedy unit. So yeah, they make great side cappers, that's for sure. I guess... Oh, Vindy replaced his Force Commander. I was going to say, where are all these resources gone? Why is Vindy not going tier 3 yet? But it's because he replaced his Force Commander, which is fair enough. He obviously had a lot of investment on that Force Commander. Replacing him does make sense. But Vindy's going straight tier 3. I mean, Vindy has had a very light tier 2 when you think... Oh my god, not Vindy. Cry has had a very light tier 2 when you think about it. Only opted for a couple of upgrades on the Lictor, the Warrior upgrade, the Ravener upgrade, and the Venom Brood. That's pretty cheap by Tyranid standards, you know, we're not seeing any zones, no genes, no Tyrant Guard. So, he's already tier 3. And now power will start becoming relevant. It'd be interesting if Vindicare could get a power bash off. He might go for that after he sees the Carnifex. That's the weird thing with the Nids. You don't need to bash their power in tier 2, they really don't need much power at all. But in tier 3 they need the juice to the gills on power. Really need it to keep that Carnifex train running. Presumably that's what Cry is going to be saving up for. I guess if he feels that he has the time in terms of VPs, he might go for a Swarm Lord. But you're not only waiting for an extra 200 or so requisition to get that on the field, it also takes longer to build as well, so... Yeah, it takes longer, so if you need the field presence immediately because you're already down to under 125 VPs, then you might just opt instead for the relatively weaker Carnifex. But Space Marines are a little bit notorious for how well they can do against other factions' tier 3s just using their tier 2. If Vindicare was to get another Dreadnought right now, he'd basically have all the tools he needs to deal with even a Swarm Lord, never mind a Carnifex. I mean, he's got a Power Fist on the Force Commander, and this Force Commander is getting a lot of levels, becoming very powerful. He could put a missile launcher on the Tactical Marines, though I think, honestly, a Plasma Gun is well overdue at this point. And remember, when you pop these Synapse models, you instantly bang 10% of the HP gone from a Carnifex. So I do think that Plasma Gun would be handy. And of course he could get a Las Cannon Devastator, which then he can buff with the Librarian Veil of Time, so you can't just counter it with Rippers quite as easily. Double Dreadnoughts, one in melee, one with a multi-melter. He'd be able to rip apart a Carnifex or a Swarm Lord quite easily with this composition, if piloted correctly. But Vindicare is feeling quite safe right now. He's going to actually be going tier 3 himself. So he gets a couple of different options then in tier 3 other than the things I've already listed. He gets the option of the Predator, and I think a autocannon Predator would actually be pretty amazing. You know, right now the Venom Brood can't even deal with a relatively immobile Walker. How the hell are they going to deal with a Predator tank? Carnifex can't catch that, not going to Swarm Lord. So then he'd have to go for a Venom Cannon Carnifex, but then that's just going to get wrecked in melee by the Dreadnought and a Force Commander. Ooh, here we go, a Flesh Hook on the Librarian. Does Librarian have Quickening? He does. He still has the Quickening, which gives him 90% damage resistance for 4-second and immunity to knockback, and he uses that to live. Lictor got super close to dying there, getting shot point blank by the Devastators, and the threat of the Dreadnought is real as well. Ravener's got a bit of a burrow, but I don't really know what it achieved. The Dreadnought, yeah, just charging forward right now. It's just going to tie up the Venom Brood, and that's basically the Tyranid forces routed, because he only has one source of AV, so this is all you got to do. Especially if you don't have any... Oh god, the backlash! Knocking the Termagants back could probably wipe this Termagant squad. Attacking the other Termagant squad instead. The Warriors have rotated, and now the Dreadnought's in a dodgy position. It's getting chased down by Venom Brood. Oh my god, the special attacks on the Dreadnought are brutal. That is a wiped Termagant squad, and it might be a wiped Warrior Brood squad. There you go. Damage buffs on the Force Commander. Oh my god, did you see how much damage he did there? Punching the Lictor? Jesus. He must have had all 5 stacks of the Battlecry buff there. That was insane. And that is the power of the Power Fist. Might only be 85 DPS heavy melee, but DPS is not that important actually on melee weapons. DPH is often more important, and certainly when it comes to getting final hits on retreating units, it is DPH that matters, and in that case, DPH was very sufficient. Either way, here comes a Swarm Lord, so a new threat for the Force Commander to have to deal with. So like I said, he's got that option of the Predator tank earlier, but he also has the option of Assault Terminators with the Thunderhammer and Storm Shields, that unique global unit that the Force Commander has. I don't know how effective that would be, just because they're very slow compared to a Predator. I think that probably would be an inferior choice. So the Librarian right now, stalling as best he can alongside the Force Commander. Force Commander is still sat in combat there. He does have to be a little bit careful. I don't know if he's still got the teleport. Yeah, he does. So he just teleports out, no problem. I think the Assault Termies, they'll be a little bit too slow here. But the other thing is, he might just go for them anyway, because this is now becoming a VP game. Cry only has 14 VPs and he's falling super quick. So you could just get Assault Termies and just say fuck it and throw them on the point. And not really care, because they're just tanky capping units. Or Vindy could play the long game and get a Predator, but he's not doing it. So I'm guessing he wants... What does he want? He has the resources for Terminators. Probably doesn't have the pop. How much are Terminators for pop? I don't even know. He's got 24 pop. Surely. Maybe he's saving it for a Land Raider Redeemer. That would be mental. Surely not. There's no need for a Land Raider Redeemer. Okay, here we go. Got a bit of a scrap going on here. Feel the time of the last devs, as I mentioned before, to help counter the Rippers. Now the Dreadnought will come in, do a bit of control. Really nice scything talons there from the Lictor, suppressing and knocking away all these units. Las Cannon finally gets a shot off, snaring the Swarm Lord. That aids the Terminators, who are indeed the choice, who are going to be hunting down that Swarm Lord. And honestly, the Terminators will probably... I'm pretty sure Terminators beat the Swarm Lord 1v1. But it's not 1v1 right now, there's a little bit of support. Not much support though, Termagants aren't going to do anything really to Terminators because of that super heavy infantry armour. Yeah, they've noticed that scouts are running to the VP, so that's very wise of Cry. The Termagants need to go stop the scouts. They're pulling away. Maybe they haven't noticed. Okay, no they have. It was a miss micro. The Swarm Lord's going to go down. Las Cannon now snaring it. Dreadnought as well as Thunderhammer Terminators in melee with it. Veil of Time still active on the Devastators, which are attempting to be tied up by the Las Cannon, by the Raveners. Raveners are wiped, scouts finish their cap here, and what is going on this side? We've got a little bit of a skirmish between Termagants and the scouts, level 2 Termagants. Do they have their Endless Swarm? I'm not sure. Level 3 scouts who aren't in proper cover. Okay, that was really well played, GG. He lost his Swarm Lord in the middle. Yeah, too late, too late. Yeah, there you go, Terminators did it. I think he could have got the Predator tank ages ago, but he also could have got the Terminators. I guess he was waiting for the right moment. It's quite nice actually. Maybe that's what he was doing intentionally. Because when he finally called down the Terminators, it was in an instance where the Swarmlord was snared by the las cannon, so he dropped the Terminators right on the Swarmlord, so it had no time to walk away and get any distance. That way he, you know, he was right on top of it without having wasted his teleport, so he still had that teleport either to teleport forward and finish off the Swarmlord, or to teleport away to safety. Maybe that was intentional from Vindy, I don't know. But either way, it worked out for him. There you go, that was a nice high-level game between VindicareX and Cry. Hope you enjoyed, folks. Thank you for all the support you've been giving me. Torpid out.